I'll start again. Hi, everyone. We're going to call to order the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting on June 5th, 2025. We have a couple of items on our agenda before the public hearing. So first, I'd like to approve the minutes of last meeting. Can I have a motion to approve?
Move approve.
And can I have a second?
I'll second. Jane seconds.
Jane
Katie was the
and
first.
Katie. And then can we have a vote to approve? I'll say.
favor?
All in favor?
Yes.
Joe?
Have they, I haven't seen the corrected minutes. If they're corrected, then I vote yes.
They went out 2 hours ago.
Yeah, they're out, Joe. And your corrections are on them.
Okay.
Okay, so that's everyone approved the minutes. Okay, the next item on our agenda is the approval of the secretary's fees. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved. Second.
Second is Faith. Okay, can we have a vote?
Yes, aye.
Yeah, aye.
Aye.
Joe? Joe?
Yes, I'm sorry. The question is,
To approve the secretary's fees.
yes.
Okay. We are now going to call the order. The Zoning Board of Appeals meeting will now come to order. I'm going to tell you how we're going to run the meeting. First, when a matter is called, the applicant or his or her agent will present the case. At this time, originals of any petition should be given to the town clerk, Jody, to the clerk. Copies of the petition should then be distributed to the board members. After the applicant's presentation, all interested persons in favor will come forward and speak. After those in favor have spoken, those in opposition will be heard. The applicant or his or her agent may then address the comment made by those in opposition. Second, this meeting is being recorded as required by state law. It's important that we're able to understand the recording. Therefore, only one person may speak at a time, and anyone who speaks must come forward and speak clearly, as our recording device is located in the ceiling of our room, and give his or her name and address. We welcome comments of all interested persons, but we must exercise discretion in making sure that your comments are on point, and if you're too far off the point, we reserve the right to restrict your comments. Third, applicants and interested persons may remain in attendance after the public hearing for the executive session to find out what was decided. Or you may call the zoning office tomorrow morning to find out. Fourth, if an application for a waiver is granted, the waiver is not valid if the notice is not recorded. The applicant must bring a check in the amount of $60 made out to the town of Fairfield to the zoning office on Wednesday or later following the meeting for proper recording. Any waiver involving construction requires an as-built prior to an issuance of certificate of zoning compliance and a certificate of occupancy. Okay, thank you. We are going to go right into our agenda. First item on our agenda, we're going to go to our continued docket. Is continued docket number 1. Once is continued again.
Just say the address.
Okay, so 166 Pine Creek Avenue was on the docket as a continued docket and has been continued again, so it will be heard at our next meeting, which is July 3rd. Okay. Now we're going to continue docket number 5. This is still here. Okay. 1157 and 1158 Fairfield Beach Road, map 184, parcel 67. This is a petition of Anthony Galaro for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 11.1.4.1, to construct a new 2-story structure consisting of a 3-car garage and a finished second floor with a plumbing, fixtures, and heat. And section 11.13.2 to reduce the setback from the center line of Fairfield Beach Road from 25 feet, currently 17.9 feet, proposing 19.6. And section 11.12 to reduce the setback from Long Island Sound from 90 feet, proposing 89.5 feet, in section 11.10 to increase the lot coverage from 20%, currently 21.1, and proposing 21.5. Permission to construct a FEMA-compliant single-family dwelling with decks and a FEMA-compliant accessory structure with living space, heat and plumbing above the ground level with a CAM application. Premises BD zone. Okay.
Okay, now that you got your breath. Hi, my name is John Nuff. I'm an attorney with an office at 135 Broad Street in Milford, Connecticut. I'm here tonight, not tonight, this is such a pleasure to be someplace in the afternoon. I'm here this afternoon on behalf of Anthony Galero, who's my client. He's the owner of the property, 1157 and 1158 Fairfield Beach Road. We are in the Beach District and also coastal management area. The parcel extends from Long Island Sound to Pine Creek and crosses Fairfield Beach Road. 1157 is the current non-FEMA compliant house on the beach, and 1158 is on the Pine Creek side, which is an obsolete two-car garage. These two applications are to enable the replacement of the existing residence and the existing garage, together with ensuring compliance with FEMA, stormwater, and all CAM requirements. One note, we are not asking for a variance with regard to 11.12. That was the 6-inch, being 6 inches closer to Long Island Sound. That was a misinterpretation of the regulations of whether or not we matched the line between our two abutting neighbors. So we are withdrawing that variance application, and we will be compliant with the setback to Long Island Sound. So the applications that are before you are, one, the CAM application, and we've gotten a positive comment letter from Kristen O'Neill at DEEP, and we can go through that in a little bit more detail. And the second is the variance application, which proposes very modest relief from 3 provisions in your regulations. The first is 11.1.4.1 to allow the second floor of the garage to be finished space with no kitchen, but for an office and exercise area. And we have offered a deed restriction to that effect, that it will never be rented as a separate unit. Second is variance from section 11.10 to increase the maximum lot coverage from 21.1 to 21.5%. That amounts to a grand total of 50 square feet. So this is a de minimis variance. And then the last is section 11.13.2 to reduce the existing non-conforming garage. The requirement in the zone is 25 feet from the center line of Fairfield Beach Road. The existing is 17 feet. We are going to reduce the nonconformity to 19.6 feet. And that, of course, the reduction of a nonconformity is the basis under Connecticut law for the granting of a variance. Bill Kenny is going to be presenting the plans themselves. Then we'll talk a little bit more about the variances. But I have submitted for the record a copy of our petition that are signed by the owners of 1149, which is our abutter to the east, 1165 and 1170, who is our abutter to the west, and 1177 and 1180, which is one lot away. I would note that the parcel at 1177 and 1180 received several variances a year ago or so. Not that that is a requirement that you must follow, but it does sort of set the stage for that. This is consistent with the context of the area, but I would note that the variances that we are seeking are significantly less than what was granted a year ago for 1177. And just so you have in the record, I'll provide Jody with a copy of the minutes of that meeting where that was approved. And now I'll turn it over to Bill Kenny.
Good afternoon. I'm Bill Kenny. I'm the principal of William Kenny Associates here in Fairfield. I'm a professional wetland scientist, soil scientist, and landscape architect. Try to keep this brief. We were hired to get involved with reviewing the coastal resources on the property and how the project would be developed in a way that's consistent with the coastal resource policies. And then we also got involved with putting together a planting plan for the property that using native plants and plants that are tolerant to the coastal conditions, salt spray and things like that. Just quickly, this is a very, you've seen many of these properties along Fairfield Beach Road. You start with Pine Creek on the left, and then you have the existing garage. Oh, there's also the dike immediately adjacent to the creek, a flood control dike with a seawall there, and that rises up, drops down a little bit to the existing detached garage. You have Fairfield Beach Road, keep moving to the the right, and then there's a relatively new garage that's attached or detached from the existing house, and they want to take down the existing house, which is not FEMA compliant, build a new house, which is FEMA compliant, and immediately then to the right of the existing and new house is a beach area. There'll be a planted zone of coastal meadow using beach grass and other grasses that are tolerant to conditions, and then the beach goes down to Long Island Sound all the way on the right. Has some tidal flats associated with that, and some shellfish areas, or areas, habitat for shellfish. So the coastal resources are Pine Creek on the left with a little bit of tidal wetlands, Long Island Sound on the right. The beach, the development is primarily within the same footprint of the existing development, and there's no stormwater management today, so there's going to be a stormwater management measures proposed to collect the water and clean it before it's discharged. So we find that because the development is substantially within the same footprint as it is today, because of the addition of the stormwater management measures to clean water from structures and pavement areas, and with the planting that's proposed, we do believe, and we have concluded that it's consistent with the coastal resource policies, and believe that it's being done, it's a good balance and appropriate redevelopment of the property.
Yeah, not really relevant. Would you like to see, I mean, it's a really beautiful house that's going to be constructed. I mean, if you just, Matt, if you would just want to page down a little bit, and so you can see what it is that we intend to construct.
I was looking for that.
So it's very consistent with the area, a really lovely sort of coastal design. So not entirely relevant to the variances that we're seeking, but I thought you'd like to see what it looks like in the garage on the other side of the street with the heated space above the garage is similar to the look and style of the proposed residence. So again, I think you're probably somewhat familiar with doing CAM applications. Obviously, CAM applications typically go to planning and zoning, but because if we're asking for a variance, we can also do that here. So, but I'm sure you're familiar with having done that before. As I said, we have a positive referral from DEEP. That, in fact, I think they are very pleased that we are providing the proper stormwater treatment and compliance with all FEMA requirements. There's a few little, I guess, tiny conditions like having a staircase up to the electric meter, which obviously we're happy to comply with. So an approval with conditions that are consistent with the DEEP letter, we do not object to, of course. With regard to the variances, I think the purpose of the provision in your regulations that prohibits living space above a garage is so to prohibit the ability of people to rent those as a separate unit. We are not proposing anything that could be used as a separate unit. As I said, we are happy to provide and record in the land records a deed restriction, and we've given you a sample deed restriction in our submission. The other variance is actually a reduction of a nonconformity, but in addition to that, the land between Pine Creek and Fairfield Beach Road is narrower on our property than others, and so we're trying to keep the garage as far from Pine Creek as possible, so that so we are reducing nonconformity, but also we want to keep it away from Pine Creek as much as possible. And then the last is just coverage. As I said, it's de minimis 50 square feet, actually maybe less since we're taking off the 6 inches along the front. So I think it's a very, very straightforward application. We're happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
The work that Mr. Kenny did, was that a requirement, or was that something that the applicant did above and beyond required?
Which work have you referred to? I'm sorry.
The landscape plan, all
I think Bill is a renowned landscape architect. I think he's doing the right thing. I mean, I think we want to do it in a way that's consistent with the Coastal Management Act. So no, I don't think everything we're doing is required,
Yeah,
but it is consistent with the policies of the Coastal Management Act.
So the applicant's going above and beyond what's required?
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
All right, do you have any questions? Do you?
There's no variance for the garage across the way. It all has to do with the property on the Fairfield Beach Road side, on the.
Correct.
south
So,
side.
so variance for the use or the enclosed and heated space above the garage is next to Pine Creek.
Okay. No kitchen,
I'm sorry?
no kitchen.
No kitchen.
Bathroom? Say bathroom?
There's a bathroom. It's going to be used as like an office and exercise area, but no kitchen. We understand the concern. And, you know, like the application that I just referenced, the exact same thing. Bathroom, no kitchen, and that was granted as well. I mean, obviously, we understand the intent.
Joe?
No question.
No questions. I have a question. So what, I know you said it all, but it's because we're crossing a street, it's a little confusing, right?
Okay, so you know what, this is really interesting.
Yeah.
So this parcel, and maybe when Matt gets back, he can show you the plan. So the parcel goes from Long Island Sound across the road to Pine Creek.
Okay, so that's the parcel, that's why.
Right, that's the parcel. Here's like the little known fact. People own to the center line of the road. If you live on Smith Street, you own to the center of Smith. What a street is, in nearly all cases, the town does not own that property in fee. They don't own it. There's a right-of-way for the public to pass and repass. So while this parcel is depicted as we own the road, we always own the road. You always own the road. It's only because we own on both sides that the survey shows that we include the road.
Okay. And then another question I have is, you know, you're asking for a variance to do the exercise room, the gym, the bathroom.
Correct.
What is the hardship associated with that?
Well, it goes to the intent of the regulations. And the intent of the regulations is to prevent the use of that space as a rental space, as two units on one lot. And so it's consistent in that way, in that we are precluding the use of that space as a separate living unit.
So you think the zoning regulation is interpretive?
No, I think, yes, correct.
Okay.
Yes, that was the intent of the regulation, to prohibit the use of apartments, student housing, however you want to put it, in accessory buildings.
And how would, in your experience, if it's deed restricted, how would that be enforced in the town? Like, how would they know 20 years from now?
Well, it's on the land records. Anyone the benefit of recording in the land records is anyone purchasing that property at any point in the future is put on notice. No one could say, and we all know that this happens, oh, I didn't know that. It's like, well, you did know it. It was in your title report when you bought your house. And so between the variance, hopefully, that will be recorded in the land records, and this deed restriction that will be recorded in the land records, it will be in your files. And so anyone it would be an opportunity, should someone in the future try to rent that space, add a kitchen, before you get a building permit, you look at the land records and would prohibit the addition of a kitchen.
All right, does the board have any more questions on this application? No? Okay, we're going to go to the public. Is there anyone here or online who'd like to speak for this application? Is there anyone here online or in the room who'd like to speak in opposition to this application? Okay, I don't see any. We're going to close this application.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, we are now going to our general docket, since we're done with our continued docket. Yeah, since we have a very full room, if you are on an application and you'd like to go, you're welcome. Okay, we're going to go to general
I've never
docket.
been kicked out so nicely.
Okay, general docket number 1, 229 Old Post Road, map 139, parcel 35, petition of Christopher and Christina Alberts for a variance of the zoning regulations section 5.2.5 to increase the total lot coverage from 20% currently 15.7, proposing 21. Petition to remove the existing garage and construct a new garage, premises A zone. Is there anyone here to speak to this?
Hi, this
application?
is Christopher Albert. Can you hear me okay?
Yep, so Christopher, you could just give us your address, please?
It's Christopher Albert, 229 Old Post Road.
Okay.
Connecticut.
Please
We're
go
asking for a
right
lot
ahead.
coverage variance because we need to replace our existing standalone garage, which is deteriorating, with a larger, more useful one-car garage. Our plan is to demolish the existing garage, which is currently 1 foot from the property line, and build the new garage 4 feet from the property line to conform to code. Our existing lot is undersized at 7,640 square feet, non-conforming to the A-zone standard, which is 9,375 square feet. Our existing coverage is 1,200 square feet, which is 15.7%, and we are proposing to use 1,604 square feet, which is 21% coverage, which is 1% greater than the section 5.2.5 regulation.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, thank you. Does anyone on the board have questions for this application? No? Joe?
Yes, so you've got an existing non-conforming lot, and you're basically asking us to exchange one existing non-conformity, which you're going to make conforming to a new non-conformity.
Yes, by 1% over the regulation.
Okay.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, seeing no one else on the board, is there anyone here that'd like to speak for this application? Online? Is there anyone here in opposition to this application here online? Okay, seeing none, we're gonna close this application. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to number 2 on the general docket. 115 Tuckahoe Lane, map 125, parcel 318, petition of Garrett.
Magar.
Thank you so much. Magart for a variance of the zoning regulation section 6.3.8 to construct an accessory dwelling unit above a detached garage. Permission to allow an accessory dwelling unit in a structure detached from the primary dwelling. Premises A zone. Name and address?
Garrett Magart, 115 Tuckahoe Lane here in Fairfield. And the variance that I'm asking for is if we were to demo and attach the 2-car garage to our house, our primary structure would then not be conforming to today's setbacks. That's basically it.
So you want to build a detached garage with apartment on top?
There's a detached garage, and I actually want to build it for my in-laws.
Have you stated for the?
Yes, oh yes, I apologize, yes. There's already an existing detached garage, and the variance I'm asking for is the ADU would be detached, and so to do it there is what I'm asking for. If I need to.
Detached is not
Correct.
allowed
If I-
in your zone.
Right.
Okay.
So I would have to demo the garage, attach it to the house, put it there, and that would now make my primary structure non-conforming to today's setbacks.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, does the board have any questions? Joe?
No?
Katie? No? No? I do not either. Jane?
I don't have any questions, but I will comment that I did the math, and you could have built a bigger ADU, but you chose not to.
I don't like my in-laws. No kidding. It's not too late. I mean, no, I actually didn't know that. I just wanted to be underneath the lot zoning size, and so, I mean,
Because you're permitted to do 40% of your living.
well,
You're below that.
well, my wife's here, so we may have to draw new plans.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone in the room or online who would like to speak for this application? Anyone here or online wishing to oppose this application?
I ask one more
Yes,
question?
of course.
So I'm just looking at your site plan. You're also going to do something with the driveway so that it gets to the,
Well, the driveway's already there.
yeah, but on the plan, it doesn't look like it's aimed toward the garage door. So that's, just curious.
Well, if you show the elevation on, if it's there, so if you see on the far right there on the upper, I'm really only going to do into the two-car garage, I'm just going to do a single door, so the driveway does actually,
Right to the middle, okay.
yeah. And then the other side basically will be an interior staircase for them to get up. I didn't want them to walk on the outside of the house.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ann. Were we at opposition? Is that where we were? Have any? Nothing? Okay, we're going to close this application. Thank you so much. Okay, we're going to move on to number 3 on our agenda.
They don't find the report.
We'll give you all some space.
Great, thank you. Okay, number 3 on our agenda is 172 Hulse Highway, map 243, parcel 269. Petition of Allison and John Love for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line and sideline setbacks from 40 feet and 15, currently 34.7 and 6.3, proposing 34.7 and 6.3. In section 5.2.5, to increase the lot coverage from 15%, currently 13.81, proposing 18.57. Permission to construct a 1-story and 2-story addition, premises R3 zone. Please?
John Love, 172 Hulse Highway, current resident. I've been there since 2012. As we've been living there, our family has continued to expand, and so what we're effectively looking to do is add some additions, effectively building back and up on the house. So the current residence is non-conforming already in terms of variance, so we require a variance in the front of the house as well as to the side of the house where the garage is located. We're not looking to do any changes to those parts of the house, so as I said, it's all in the back and building up. In addition to that, I'd say that our current residence is zoned as R3, which is for a 20,000 square foot lot. Our actual lot size is 9,600. And if you look directly across the street on the other side of Hulse Highway, all those zones are Zone B. So which is more in line with kind of how we are situated in our lot.
Is your house, how old is your home?
It was built in 1948.
Okay. Okay, questions from the board? Nothing? Joe?
No?
Okay, Faith? No. Okay. No. And none from myself, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right. Is there anyone in the room who would like to speak for this application? Online? Anyone in opposition to this application? Here? Online? Okay, we're going to close this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You don't have to leave. I just want you to know.
We'd love to say.
I would. I think my boss would be upset with me though.
Thank you. Okay, we are going to continue to our next item. The item number 4, 1080 South Pine Creek Road, map 232, parcel 172. Petition of Michael and Julianne Salati for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback on a corner lot from 30 feet, currently 7 feet, proposing 7 feet. Permission to construct a 1-story addition, premises R3 zone.
How you doing? Mike Salati, owner of 1080 South Pine Creek. So we were here back in 2022 to get a variance. It's a corner lot, and on the side street, the setback is 30 feet. The garage was built at 7 feet, so we were here in 2022 to keep that 7-foot setback. So now we would like to add on a single-story addition on the rear of the house in the back of the garage and keep that 7-foot setback. If we were to do a 30-foot setback, it would pretty much like put me in the middle of my property, and the house is pretty pushed back from the front yard. It just wouldn't go very well for my kids.
Okay. Okay, does the board have any questions? Jane?
I'm just looking, do you have the neighbors, did you ask the neighbors?
Yeah.
Is it on here?
I asked all of them, and I have all their signatures as well.
We have that, right? Do we have that?
Did you give that to me?
I forgot it at home, but I do have it. Sorry about that.
Doesn't do me any good.
I'm sorry.
Just email them over.
Okay.
So,
Joe, do you have any questions?
As I understand it, nothing's being increased to the existing nonconformity. Is that correct?
Correct, yep.
Thank you.
Okay, I think no more questions from the board. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
You guys could do this now. We should just do it like a chant. Is there anyone in the room who'd like to speak for this application or online? Is there anyone opposed to this application or online? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Okay, we are going to. Okay, we're doing number 5. Am I right?
Good.
207 Main Street, map 241, parcel 48, petition of Lee Baldwin for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sideline setbacks from 15 feet, currently 7.7, proposing 11.3, and section 5.2.5 to increase the total floor area from 30%, currently 36.1, proposing 37.6. Permission to construct a second floor addition. Premises is R3 zone.
Chair, Commissioners, Chris Russo with Russo and Rizzio LLC, offices at 10 Sasko Hill Road in Fairfield, here on behalf of the applicant. I'm here with Jack Franzen, who was our architect on this project, which is at 207 Main Street, and this is for a second floor addition to the existing dwelling. R3 district, and it's Southport on Main Street. It's one of our oldest neighborhoods. And what tends to happen in our old, beautiful neighborhoods with their old, beautiful houses is that they are non-conforming. And so as these houses are updated and expanded in a way that's typical in the area, they are constrained by certain aspects on their lot. And in particular, one of the things you tend to find is that they are very undersized. And particularly if you know this section of Main Street as it comes into Harbor Road, there are a number of undersized lots here. So you can see right here is an overhead 207 Main Street, that's our property. But if you look at 179, 191, 219, 227, 226, those are all properties in the R3 district, very undersized. This lot is half of your required lot area for the R3 district, which is 20,000. This is a little over, it's 10,096 square feet. And that continues, it's not just that Main Street section. You probably know some lots on Harbor Road that are also similarly undersized with very old houses on them. So they're undersized. It poses challenge for them, particularly on FAR, which is one of the variances that we're going for. The other thing you sometimes find is that they have very odd lot shapes. They were established well before any type of zoning regulations, and that's something you can see, again, not just with our lot, which has this odd, it almost looks like California, tipped over on its side. But if you look at the way 191 comes into our lot, and then 219, they have very odd lot shapes. And that can drive the variances. I think it's the main driver of our side yard setback variance. So to switch it over to the site plan, and again, go over those variances. The first is for a side yard setback We're requesting 11.3 where 15 feet is required. But oddly enough, as you heard on the call, 7.7 feet is already existing. So right here, so here's the existing house. There's 3-story residence, the original old house, and then 1-story that comes off here. And then there's a garage in the back. Where we're proposing the addition is over existing building. And I'll show you on an elevation so you see what that looks like. But again, because of the odd shape of the lot, what happens is this lot line comes back and then it goes this way, it curves into it comes into the property and it pinches it right here. So the existing dwelling is 7.7 feet from that property line. So it's already closer, it's already within the setback, it's already non-conforming. Where we're proposing this addition is at 11.3, so it's beyond where the first floor goes to. And it's really just, you can see here, you can see this line here, it's clipping that corner of what's essentially a 12 by 12 addition. So the variance request with regards to the side yard is simply for this corner, not for the balance of the addition. And again, driven by this kind of this shape. The second variance is for FAR. Again, something you see often for undersized properties. And it's for a very slight increase. It's an increase of 1.5%, which translates to only an increase of 149 square feet for the extra bedroom. So that FAR variance is for only 149 square feet, which is, again, for this bedroom. So just to show you, run through some of these plans here so you can see it visually. And again, one of the things I'll point out too is the historic district. One of the things you try to do, and Jack can speak to this better than I can, he's probably presented to the HDC more than anybody in town. But when you put an addition on a house that's this historic, one of the things you try to do is minimize the impact and changing the impact that you see from the public right of way. That's where HDC controls from. It's what they see from the public right of way. So a lot of times what you try to do is locate it so you can't see it. So that's what he's done with this design. So when you're going, and I'll show you some photos, so when you are driving down Main Street, you're gonna look at this house and you're gonna see the original box that was there, back when this house was originally built. And this addition is dead in the center of the rear of the dwelling, so it doesn't interfere with that. The issue though with that is it pushes it over closer to here and it needs the side yard variance. So I'll just show you these. And if you have any questions specific for Jack, he can certainly come up. So this is the existing second floor. You can see this is the area, and I'll show you in the later picture, but it's already existing floor area below it. This is the first floor right here, and it's gonna go on top of that, so. Here's this elevation. Right here is where, this is the existing elevation. So what I'm gonna show you the next elevation, and you'll see that addition get added there. One more. Before I get there, just to show you, here it is right here. Just a small bedroom, 12 feet, 12 feet. And then you can see it here. So right under this other dormer is going to be another shed dormer that comes off, goes up to this line here. And that corner right there is the one that needs the variance for the side yard. Okay. Show you some photos. So this is from Main Street. This is looking, so Harbor Road is down here. So I'm north of the property. This is my client's property, 207 Main Street. This is 191. And what I tried to show, I tried to take a steep angle to look in the back here before this house would sort of get in the way. And you could see that you're not going to be able to see. This is the third floor. There's that dormer that's on the third floor. You could just barely see that third floor dormer, and so this will be set below it. So again, you don't interfere with the look where you can see here, you definitely won't be able to see it. This is 207 Main Street, looking a little bit closer. You're going to be able to see that original design of the house. This is looking the other way, so now this end, Harbor Road's behind me. Again, you could see, you're not going to be able to see that addition off the back, and then as you move, the property next to us the house is right up against us. So this addition's really not going to be visible from the public way. And the only other thing, I took pictures, I just to show, again, these are a number of old houses on old lots, undersized lots, and I'll go through their FAR because I think our FAR is totally conforming to what you find down in this neighborhood. Large homes that are on undersized lots. Let me get you back to the front there. So just going through that quickly. Just to show what we're proposing as far as an FAR, which is slightly over 37.5%, is conforming to the neighborhood in these types of lots. So 191 Main Street, house built in 1834, 42.27% FAR. Our house, 207 Main Street, was built in 1804. It's one of the oldest around. It's, again, proposing a little over 37.5. 219 Main Street, a little bit less. It's built in 1822, a little over 36%. 226 Main Street, which is right across the street, is at 89.93. That's a building from 1849. And you find on Harbor Road as well. 221 Harbor Road, FAR is at 40.69%. It's an 1884 building. 789 Harbor Road, 59.98%, that's 1884, and then 1100 Harbor Road at 55.3, that's a 1904 house. So it's a common characteristic for these old houses in the Southport neighborhood. To have, the last thing I'll hand out to you is Jack and my client went around to the neighbors and our budding neighbors to get their support for the application, discuss the application with them. And what I've tried to do on that map, you can't really see it that well because I colored it in purple, but all of our abutting neighbors signed this petition. Oh, you got them online? There you go. Okay, give them. So that's 191, 179, 608, 648, and 219 Main Street, all in support of the application. Those are all of our abutting neighbors. And one thing I'll just note too, because when I've shown the site plan, you might see it. We showed a potential area in the future for a swimming pool. When we went and talked to neighbors, we just wanted to show them how we were planning on laying out the property. That's in the future. It actually might be smaller. Talking to our client, it might actually come in with a smaller pool than that. But just so you know, that no variance relates to that because it doesn't count towards coverage. We're not requesting a coverage variance. The variances only relate to the second floor addition. And again, it's for that side yard setback and then the slight increase in FAR. So with that, happy to answer any questions. And Jack's here too, if you had any questions for him.
I'm looking at something that you wrote in the written application. And I
Sure.
just have a question. Say, the site and existing dwelling, this renders the site and existing dwelling non-conforming as to the regulations. However, the site and dwelling are conforming to the nearby properties. What do you mean they're conforming? That's not a,
Well, that was kind of what I'm trying to point out with, so the lot is non-conforming
that's
as
a
far as
legal
it's
term.
signed,
That's a
right,
legal
right,
term.
right.
Yeah.
It's non-conforming, but as far as its character and that characteristic of being an undersized lot and being over on FAR
okay.
is characteristic in the neighborhood. And that's why I went through those Main Street properties, those Harbor Road properties.
But your use of the word conforming, it sounds like a legal term, which I don't.
Yeah, no, because I think when you are requesting a variance, it's, one of the things you look at is, what is your impact to the neighborhood? Are you having a negative impact? Are you doing something that's out of character of the neighborhood? So maybe character would have been the more appropriate word. But that's just what I'm trying to say by that, is that what we're proposing here is in character with these smaller, older lots that you find in there.
So you have right now, what's going to be below it?
What's the existing first floor now? Oh, what is actually there?
Like
It's the
a,
kitchen, I believe, isn't it?
Yeah, Jack Franzen, 95 Harbor Road. Yeah, it's built on top of the kitchen.
so there's a kitchen, and then you're looking to put in a bedroom,
Yeah.
one bedroom, and then, but above that, there's a dormer.
The dormer is set back, and it's also a bedroom. So right now, there's 3 bedrooms. The previous owner had actually owned a home next door, and he bought this property for his stepfather, who was in a wheelchair. So they converted, there was a bedroom on the ground floor that was kind of not a bedroom. It was more like a den. And the current owner has turned that back into like a family space. So that's why she wants to kind of restore that bedroom that existed before.
Okay.
Yeah, it's only 12 by 12.
Right,
She's got
so it's 144 square feet addition to the home.
Yeah, 149.
Yeah, because this is a little bit more than 12 feet. It's like 12 feet, 6
Okay.
inches.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Okay, other questions from the board? No? Joe? Joe, do you have any questions?
I do not.
Okay, thank you. You all set? Okay. nothing-
Chair, if I could just, and because I know I've already kind of say this, but just to go through the hardship, because I want to make sure I state the hardship. Again, one thing I'll point out is this isn't a historic district, and so, and I think this went into Jack's design to try to be sensitive to the historic district and where he located this addition, to preserve that original look from Main Street. So we're trying to do that, but it drives the side yard variance, but it's still not closer than the existing building. It's just going over what is already where the first floor is, but it's not getting closer than the first floor is. It's the oddly shaped lot is another hardship with that sharp angle. Obviously it's an old house, you're stuck with where it is, and it drives that side yard setback variance. For the lot area variance, it's a significantly undersized lot, but the FAR is in character with the FAR found on old houses on old lots. And again, I'll just point out, it has the support of all the neighbors who would be most impacted by it. With that, I'll conclude.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone here who would like to speak for this application or online? Is there anyone online or here who would like to oppose this application? Seeing none, hearing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, appreciate the time.
We are moving on to application R number 6. 145, no, I'm sorry. We have a withdrawn application, 145 Puritan Road. For the record, that's withdrawn. Number 7, 840 Mill Hill Road, map 228, parcel 40. Petition of Joseph Harden for a variance of the zoning regulations 5.2.4 to reduce the rear property line from the accessory structure greater than 100 square feet from 40, proposing 16.5. Permission to construct an in-ground pool, premises AA zone. Hi.
Hi, how are you? Bruno Mirabales from Freddie & Co., representing Joe Harden.
I'm sorry, we were talking over you.
No
Could you
worries.
start again, please?
I'm Bruno Mirabales from Freddie & Co. We're a landscape masonry and pool contractor here in Fairfield. representing Joseph Harden, for a variance for the rear yard setback to install a natural chemical-free swimming pool. The house was built in the 1850s, so as you can see on the survey, it's already tucked on the side yard setback. So with the existing location of the septic tank and fields and driveway, the only usable backyard space would be, behind the house, close to the setback, so we're looking to minimize that setback. The abutting property there is owned by the town of Fairfield, so we're not really impacting any residential neighbors in that area.
Okay. Okay, do we have questions? Okay, we do.
You said it's the only place for it, but what about the area alongside the driveway? Just,
So there's that space if you're coming in the driveway on the right-hand side,
Yeah.
the septic field or the leaching fields are on the left-hand side.
Yeah.
On the right-hand side with the existing driveway there, it felt too close and unsafe driving in without changing the whole course of the driveway. And to change the course of the driveway, that would mean, again, the leaching field is in the way and there's some big existing trees as well.
aren't you gonna have a fence around the pool?
It has an automatic safety cover.
So, but there's really no reason why it couldn't have gone other than aesthetics.
Aesthetics and safety was our concern with the driveway.
Would you mind addressing, if you look on this map, it says something like second parcel to be acquired. What does that mean?
I can't
Because you're
answer that.
building, I know, but see where the pool is right on the line, and this is a newer survey, so this isn't something that was older. But do you see where it says this right there? So I was wondering.
Yeah, from my understanding, that is acquired, that does belong to them.
Right. Well, I guess if we went into session, we could just say that based on that is true. Okay. Hey, did you have questions for the applicant?
We were talking about your question.
Oh, okay.
Second parcel to be acquired.
Yeah, I don't think, you obviously don't know the answer to that. So I was saying that what we could do, I don't know what we're gonna decide, but if we do approve it, we could just say in our approval, understanding that that is already owned by the applicant or something like that, we could put that in, okay?
That has been
And
acquired.
am I
yeah.
correct that behind you is like a town open space easement behind High
Correct.
Meadow?
Yeah,
or-
it's right there.
Yep.
Yeah.
And there's a driveway on the
Right.
left-hand side of the property that's,
And what's on the
It
back?
doesn't go anywhere, does it? Is that?
no, I mean, I haven't driven down
Yeah.
there, but
And what's on the other side, behind the property?
that's the
No,
open.
the other side, no, there.
That's the access, the driveway to that open space. There's a paved, it's chained off,
It
so.
used to be a-
All around
It
the
used to be a driveway, there's a new development that was built maybe 10 years ago back there.
Yeah,
And so
down
part
the
of
hill.
what the town required was that there was a
the
open
Buckley
space.
Estates.
Right, yeah.
Oh,
Right,
okay.
so
So
it
it's part of the
required an
open space.
easement, the open space to be left between Mill Hill, and that driveway just kind of goes to nowhere.
There's some access
Yeah.
to maintain it if they need to.
And so where you see that's the septic and the sewer is all on that side of the property, is that side where the pointer is now, right? And the other side of the property where the garage, where the driveway is,
Whose driveway, their driveway?
yes, that driveway that Matt's on right now. That driveway is just the reason the pool is asked to be there, so you don't have to tear up the driveway.
Yeah, because that's the only driveway, it cuts across the whole property right now, because the house is all the way on the other side.
All right, any other questions? Joe?
Yes, the, immediately next to the pool, is that filtration system, could that be moved to another area so that it wouldn't be, could it be at the end as opposed to being on the side of the pool?
That could be at the end, it could be on the house side. It could be moved, yes.
So you're
That's
asking,
part,
so that would make you less in the setback?
that's, yes, if it weren't there, it wouldn't be within the setback.
I believe the variance is to the line of the pool, not that filtration system.
So
Matt,
that's just-
Matt, can we ask you a question then, please? Would the variance start with that system, or does it start where the pool starts?
From the pool. The pool equipment's less than 100 square
Oh,
feet.
that's
So the
fine.
setback is 10 feet from that instead of 12.
Okay, so it's just
Okay.
like an HVAC on an, okay, thank you.
I have a question. So it appears to me that where the pool is placed, there are really no abutting neighbors that it's
No.
affecting, because you've got the driveway and you've
Right.
got open space.
Exactly.
Okay. Anyone else? Anything else from the board? Okay, no, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this application or online? Is there anyone here who'd like to speak in opposition to this application or online? Okay, no, this application is closed. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Take care.
Okay, we are moving on to number 8 on our agenda, which is 101 High Meadow Road. Matt, make sure you're Map 229, parcel 265, petition of Trevor Lully and Jennifer
Prashanti.
Thank you.
Lally
Frusciante, for a variance of the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to the street line setback from 50, currently 40.3, proposing 43.3. Permission to construct a second floor addition premises AA zone. Please, name and address.
Hi, Jennifer Prashanti, now Lally, 101 High Meadow Road in Southport. I'm joined by my husband Trevor. He's on the Zoom call and he is going to explain what we want to do.
Hey, Trevor.
Hi, guys. So, the home was built in 1952, before the setback regulations were enforced like they are today. It's a pre-existing non-conforming lot and dwelling. And as we hope to build the second story, it's just to note that the footprint of the house is not expanding, right? We're just setting second story on top of first story. So the total floor area will increase, but we're not protruding, beyond anywhere that exists on the first story today.
Okay. Anything else? That's good. All right. Any questions from the board? No, I don't have any. Joe?
No?
Faith? No? Okay, no questions. Thank you.
We do have some signatures.
Okay, we might need to make copies of it. This is her only copy.
Put it online.
Okay. It's already online, right? Is this already, did you already submit this?
The application, but I don't think the signatures.
Nothing, I'll put it online though.
Okay, great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, is there anyone here who would like to speak in favor of this application? Is there anyone here or online? Is there anyone here who would like to speak in opposition of this application here, online? Okay, now we're going to close this application. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are moving on to number 9 on our agenda, which is 895 Bronson Road. That's spelled right. Here, W.
Bronson? No.
Okay. Map 177, parcel 187, petition of Eugene Marks Jr. for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the side setback for a structure greater than 100 square feet from 25, currently 13.1, proposing 10.4, in section 5.2.5 to increase the total lot coverage from 10%, currently 9.1.7, proposing 10.26, permission to remove the existing garage and construct a new detached garage. Can the applicant please move? Are they here? Do we have anybody? Oh, they're online. Okay, Mr. Marks, I think you're muted. We're not muted, only he's muted, right?
That's correct.
So he should be hearing us, telling us he's muted? I think he's looking for the button.
Hi, this is Melanie
I'm
Barr.
so sorry, I'm not a Zoomer.
Could you just state your name and address and then speak to your application, please?
Yes, this is Eugene Marks, 895 Bronson Road, and I appreciate your patience. My wife Melanie's also on the call from Fairfield. I'm traveling, and our daughter was supposed to join us, and that's relevant because the property to the south is the property of my daughter, son-in-law, and 3 grandboys. And it would be good to have them. Obviously, we've spoken to them about this. And I would also like to say that we've also spoken to our neighbors to the north, the Swans and Eric Nettle to the west. So the 3 abutting neighbors, not just text and things, but we actually spoke to them about this. What we're asking to do here is we have a 1928 garage that's failing. It's shifted. The garage doors barely even closed right now, and so it's time to update that. And so what we'd like to do is to leave the new, thank you, that's the exact view, put the new garage that is just 4 feet wider and 4 feet deeper to practically accommodate a full-size car, nothing extravagant. Leaving the same setback from the street that exists, splitting the 4 feet, a little under 2 feet towards our daughter's house, about 2 feet over towards our deck, and the full 4 feet in the rears. I will say, as you look at this, that one of the possibilities was to move the garage all the way over towards the deck, but we put in a water retention system there, given the extreme water coming off that hill from the construction above that new development that was put in, and that those baffles and retention systems are such that they're working. And so this placement of this practical garage seems to address a modest increase to the Najars and little impact to the drainage system for us. I think that's it, and I'll be happy to take questions.
Does anyone have any questions?
Yeah.
I would ask though, what is your hardship?
Well, the hardship, I guess, in my mind is where else would we put a garage that would handle, I mean, the current garage, if we were to rebuild it, would only accommodate a small car and not be relevant for today's lifestyles and such if we were to rebuild it right there. So simply, and it isn't like we're demolishing a fully functional, it's shifted and it needs to be redone anyway. So I don't know where else to put this unless we were just swinging all the way up in the backyard to put something that could accommodate today's automobiles and lifestyles and yard equipment and such.
Okay, thank you. Do any other board members have any questions?
Yes, hi. I'm just looking at the chart that has the proposed conditions. It says the existing conditions from this one side property line exist at 17.5 and the proposed is 17.5. Is that the house? That's the house. So where's the information down below? Is it in the chart or I have to just look at it?
He doesn't have it on the chart. Yeah, it's just a site plan shows existing is 13.4 and their proposed 10.4.
Wait, say that again, Matt?
The existing setback for the garage is 13.4 feet that they're planning to remove, and the new garage is 10.4.
So it's 3 feet. So they're asking for an additional variance, okay.
Yep.
On the drawing though, I see a setback line of 18. That's not for the garage.
I'm not sure what that setback represents. 18 feet would be incorrect for the district. It's 25 feet for the primary structure.
Right.
Would be the same on the other side. any accessory structure in this zone greater than 100 square feet must comply to the primary setbacks. If we're under 100, it will only be 10.
So in fact, it's way over. It's not at 18, it's 25, so
But yeah, that,
more than half of the garage is in the setback.
Currently too, right?
yeah, correct. Currently it is, and
Currently it is non-conforming and is going to be a little worse.
3 feet.
3 feet worse.
Yeah. And the adjacent neighbor is daughter?
That doesn't have to put that in. But I'm just, so the drawing, just making sure that the drawing doesn't match the.
correct. It doesn't match the requirement.
Okay, any more questions from the board, Joe?
Yes, so there is a current nonconformity being the side yard for the house, or am I misunderstanding that?
The house on that side's conforming, the house on the other side is not.
Okay. So,
Asking about the setback to the primary structure of the house.
okay, so the existing setback nonconformity does not relate to the direction of the proposed addition.
Discuss that.
Yeah, okay, unless we have other questions to Matt, do you have, Joe, is that directed to Matt? Or to the applicant?
Matt or the applicant, it's a clarification.
Yep,
There's
okay.
an existing nonconformity, but that does not relate to the direction of the proposed addition.
That may be, sir. I must say I've been focused on the area removing or reducing what is already a non-compliant setback, and by just encroaching another 3 feet to that line, in all honesty. I haven't focused on other areas of the lot, but as you know, every garage down that street is non-conforming and in setbacks and so forth. We're just marginally moving that.
So the existing garage is non-conforming with respect to setback?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, yes, Jane, we have another board member with a question. Mr. Marks,
Hi,
please.
Mr. Marks, would you say that a hardship would be that the lot frontage, which is required to be 135 feet, and you only have 85 feet, would you say that's a hardship? That means you have a skinny lot?
Well, I think so, and I have to say, I don't know all the proper terminology here. What we tried to accomplish was not to make the setback from the street anything different than what was built in 1928.
Right, I'm just suggesting maybe there's a hardship that you didn't even realize you had.
Yeah, I guess it is. Our thought was, how do we maintain the general look and feel, also the architecture, the massing, to have a tasteful building, nothing 2 stories, to have it sit there so that if you didn't know it was rebuilt, that it would pretty much look the same. And given the water retention and the stuff in the ground there towards the deck, you know, we kind of split it so that we didn't have to go in there and dig all that out, so that we would not change the side setback.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any other board members with questions on this application? I don't see any. Is there anyone here who'd like to speak for this application online? Is there anyone here?
Yeah.
Oh,
Hey,
please.
can you hear me? This is Dan Najjar.
Dan, could you just give us your name and address, please?
Yep. Yeah, first name, last name is Najjar, and address 879 Bronson Road, one of the adjacent properties. Same property as, so these are, Eugene and Melanie are my in-laws, so I'm married to their daughter.
Okay.
And yeah, just wanted to state, and you know, happy to help in any way to to help make it happen.
I think you froze up, but what you're saying is you're for this application, correct?
Correct, yes.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Okay, is there anyone here or online who would like to speak against this application? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we're going to close this application. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next application is a continued 1170 Fairfield Beach Road, map 184, is continued to 7/3. Okay. Do you guys know how many there are? Do you know where we are? We're getting there. Okay, number 11. 879 Riverside Drive, map 139, petition of MLW Design Build LLC for a variance of the zoning regulation, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line, sideline, and summon two sideline setbacks from 30 feet and 7 feet and 25 feet, proposing 24 feet, 3.9 feet, and 16.6 feet. And section 5.2.4.3, to reduce the side and rear line setbacks for an accessory structure from 4 feet, proposing 3 feet and 3.7. And section 5.2.5, to increase the total floor area from 40%, proposing 49.6. Permission to correct a construction error. Premises A zone. Name and address.
William Levy, 101 Millard Street, Fairfield, Connecticut. I'm the architect for the house. I'm going to work from backwards, the 40 and the 49.6. Previously, we got approval for 49% of the lot coverage floor area. When they did the survey, they took it to the existing foundation wall. When they built the house, they put a stone veneer on the outside. So that increased the floor area by 3.5 inches around the perimeter, which equals the 0.6%. So we built on the existing foundation. We didn't move the house or make it bigger or anything like that. It was just the stone veneer. When the surveyor takes the measurements, they go to stone veneer instead of the house. That's one. Second is the street line setback. Again, 24.1 was the existing. Now we're at 24. Again, stone veneer popped out slightly. Side yard, same thing, 4.2 to 3.9. There was also the AC platform, which was past the edge of the house, but we're cutting that back so that it is in line with the house. So that should not add any extra. If you look at the survey, the 3.9 is to the house. And the AC platform looks like it's over, but it's going to be cut back. And the last one is the garage in the rear. There was an existing garage there. When they built the new garage, they didn't look at the survey. They matched what was there. So they built it too close. But we do have signatures from both neighbors on the right and in the rear of those two homeowners, and they are not against it. They don't really care.
Could you just, when you talked about the garage, could you tell me what that went from, what was approved and what happened?
I believe it was, we were setting it back correctly, so I believe it was 4 and 4.
So you didn't need a variance for the garage? So now you do? And how far are you in the setback?
3 and 3.7. So a foot on the right and 0.3 in the back.
All right, do any of the board members, over here, talk to the crowd, I know,
I was
but.
asking that for clarification.
I know, but it gets confusing.
Okay, sorry, I was asking, so if,
Ask, go ahead.
how did the garage get bigger? That's my question. So,
It didn't get
He was just
bigger.
explaining that.
The
Okay.
existing got torn down,
yeah,
but when they built the new one that was supposed to be 4 and 4, they used the old setback, and
oh, right, that, okay, I understand, that's what you're saying, okay.
the 49.6 is from the stone veneer, the overall floor area.
Okay, Joe, do you have any questions?
Yes. So basically, this application is to approve things that got done in an inconsistent way with the prior approval.
Correct. And if I can say, if there are portions that you're okay with and portions that you're not okay with, the 49.6, which is the stone veneer, I'm not on the board, but I can't see that being a major problem. If we need to move the garage, we will move the garage. But the two neighbors to the right and to the rear said they have no problem with it.
And this was a prior non-conforming situation because of the then existing garage.
Correct. The existing garage was not 4 feet away from the property line.
Is there any other prior non-conforming aspect not associated with the recent construction?
The existing conditions of the lot coverage were 24. We got approved for 27.6, and we actually came in under at 27.1. So we made the lot coverage better from the previously approved variance.
Okay, thank you.
Jane has a question through you, Matt.
Matt,
Sure.
when you are measuring distance to the house, are you measuring to the foundation, face of foundation, or to the face of siding, typically?
If the foundation is clean, we measure to the siding. If,
Siding.
yes. If you wind up putting a decorative block on the foundation.
So in this
If you
case,
put a decorative block on the foundation, they'll measure to that.
so in this case, if the original plot plan was done by the surveyor measuring it to the foundation, not the face of the siding, they kind of overstepped, would you say?
Yeah, the original survey, the proposal that you granted the original variance on was done to the siding, which is what they're supposed to measure to.
Right.
But when you do a decorative block on the foundation that protrudes further, they'll measure to that.
Does, let me ask him a question.
Yes.
Does the block extend beyond the face of the siding?
And the
They
plans
chose
that
a
were
bigger
approved,
one.
did they show the siding?
Siding, yes, the block, no.
Okay, so that block wasn't on the plans that got approved?
Correct.
Okay.
On the survey took it to the siding.
So just to clarify, because there's a lot of different numbers here. So the sum of the two sidelines, it's supposed to be 25. We're at 16.6. That's because of the stone veneer?
Correct. The existing was, proposed was 16.9, which we got approved for, and it's.
The variance was
and
for
it's
16.9. So you're
Correct.
basically only over
0.3,
0.3, okay.
pretty much in all directions.
And the same thing with the side, okay, same thing with the side, from 7 to 3.9. What was the variance approved for on that? What was the variance approval on that one?
4.2 was approved.
So it's off by 3.
4.2 was existing and approved.
Okay. And same thing with the street line, from 30 to 24,
Correct. 24,
6 feet of veneer.
24 existing, 27.6 approved,
Oh.
27.1.
20.27 was approved.
27.6. That one actually went down.
Okay.
Got it.
All right, any other questions from the board? Okay, thank you very much. Is there anyone here or online who would like to speak for this application?
Sure, yeah, for the sightings.
Seeing none, is there anyone here or online who would like to speak against this application? Hearing none, seeing one, we're going to close. Oh.
My name's Michael Black. I live at 867 Riverside, so the house to the left. I understand what the variances are. I do this for a living too. Front yard setback, side yard setback, FAR, lot coverage. Like, the house doesn't fit on the lot. I don't think it should have been approved. I didn't push it last time because it is what it is. Conversation was that the neighborhood is following in this tradition and the neighborhood is not following in the tradition. The street is full of capes. All down the right side of the road is capes. So I'm sitting here as, I didn't say anything about a 4.2 foot setback from my property line, which I have a dark house now. It was 1 story and now it's 2.5 stories at 3.9. So I don't know what to do with it. Like I said, I'm in the business. I flip back and forth, but to me, a 9.6% increase in floor area is a 25% increase in square footage. And a 7% increase in lot area here is a 35% increase in the square footage of the footprint. This was a big house that, and now we're fighting over inches, but it makes a difference. And now we've set precedent for every house. Like, how can you say my house can't be 3.9 feet from the setback now, or my neighbor, or the person on the other side? So it is what it is. What I'm gonna say up here is part of my conditions was 10-foot tall trees along my property line. Bill knows that. The homeowner knows that. It's in the video. Somehow it got overlooked and they spent $200 on 2-foot tall trees down the property line. The idea was I didn't want to look inside my neighbor's window every time I looked out my window. And that's what I do now. So I request that somebody looks that up and enforces what we agreed upon. I don't know what else I can do. I don't want to shoot myself in the foot for further meetings, but I think the house is too big for the property.
I have a question for you. Are we allowed to ask questions?
I don't know.
Can ask it,
Yeah.
see if we can answer it
So,
from there.
because I remember that variance, and it was a big one. So, but you were in favor at that point in time, right, as an abutting neighbor? And I do remember that 10-foot tree was part of the conditions, right?
Trees, plural, yeah.
Right, but that has not been done.
No, they planted it with 2-foot tall trees along the property line. I was never in favor of it. I don't think I said I was in favor of it, but I wasn't going to fight it because
That would have been the time.
well, none of my other neighbors wanted to fight it at that time. So, but now that it's there, they all hate it. And when there's 3 or 4 more, they're going to hate it even more. And this was a spec house, so it's a different, yes, it was a non-conforming lot, but there was no hardship on this property.
Okay, thank you. You're going to speak also. You then have turn to come back and address their specific comments, okay? Please, name and address.
My name is Patrick Perhenny. I live at 827 Riverside Drive. And I ask you not to approve this variance. First off, if I understand Mr. Decker's explanation, if the foundation walls are bare, then setbacks are determined by the outer wall. above if that's protruding beyond the foundation wall.
It always does.
Okay. The fascia right now, taking off the fascia then will not change the setbacks because right now the exterior walls either are proud of this fascia or they're plumb with it. So I think that's a bit disingenuous. The footprint is the footprint as it's built. And my issue is that we all know the heated building environment in Fairfield. Developers want to maximize living space on properties. And you have the unenviable job of trying to balance building and town interest with the interest of the neighborhood and homeowners. And you've already given variances, I think generous variances to this applicant. And now the neighborhood needs you to protect the neighborhood against a bad precedent. And that precedent is that there may come in another developer and he makes or she makes a mistake and she comes back or he comes back and says, I made a mistake. Please forgive the excess that you permitted, that you went beyond the permission. And oh, by the way, if you don't, you already you did it once, so why can't you do it for me? And I understand we're talking about inches, but you deal in inches. I mean, these surveys, they deal in feet and inches. And when the applicant got the variance, there were limitations implicit upon that. And how do you determine what is tolerable, a tolerable margin of error? Well, I would put to you that the fact that there hasn't been a certificate of occupancy granted means it is intolerable. The fact that we're back here means that it's intolerable. I think you're all Fairfield residents and you're empathetic, you want to do what's right, but ultimately you're here to enforce the zoning laws and determine when there should be allowances. Allowances have been made and they were gone beyond. And I think whatever solution is given here should have some amount of pain attached to it, not to punish the applicant, but to be a deterrent for this type of application coming in again. And I just encourage the board to enforce the ruling they've made. I appreciate your time.
Thank you. Please, name and address, please.
My name is Lowell Halverson. I live at 887 Riverside Drive, Fairfield, Connecticut. I am the direct neighbor opposite him. He's on the left, I'm on the right. If you recall, in the last meeting, my specific request was that I asked for a fence, and that indeed did come true. I got what I wanted. But I also remember at the last meeting that he asked for trees, and I do remember the number 10 feet. He did not get his trees, and I think that's unfair. I'm not complaining for me. I got what I wanted. He did not get what he wanted. So I make a specific request. Please write into your zoning requirements that the CO is not written until 10-foot trees are put on the property, because they did agree. What's fair is fair. That's my only comment. Thank you.
Would you like to come back up and address?
We are fine with taking down the new trees that were planted and putting up 10-foot trees.
Okay.
No issue.
Okay, Jane, you have a question.
So, just for the record, I voted against this application a year ago. I was the only one who didn't want it, so now here it is. So, if the remedy today to not require you to get this variance would be, number one, to take off all the stone and move the garage, those two things?
Move the garage, I mean,
Just hypothetically.
guess,
That
yeah.
would be the remedy. Right. It'd be
Moving,
punitive, but it-
moving the garage easier than removing the stone,
So you could remove the stone.
if you
But is
wanted
that-
to. But it's still going to the siding or the stone, so it's probably still gonna be over. One
Okay.
other
But hold on
thing
to
that I-
that, to Matt, as someone who does this every day, is there a remedy by removing the stone? Would it then meet the variance that was given?
I would leave that up to the surveyor to verify their numbers and where they took the measurements from.
The other item that was
Hold
added.
on just one
Sorry.
second, please.
You know, I didn't take that into consideration when I did my site visit. I can always go back and do that and meet the surveyor to verify where and how they're taking their numbers from. Take it from there. I mean, 0.5% on, 0.5% off of 5,300 square feet is around 27 feet. So, you know, that could happen on a perimeter of a structure when you're off by half an inch or an inch, added up on the linear footage. The proposal was to build on the existing foundation. My inspection showed that, but, you know, again, with the stone, they could increase such by that extra 27, 28 square feet.
Stone, when I'm looking, can I talk?
Well, I just want to make sure we can only talk to Matt now, and we can only talk to this applicant now. So if we have internal discussions, we can do that. So wait, Jane has one thing before you go.
Matt, sorry, what's the margin of error typically on a survey? An A2 survey, is there one?
They'll have a plus and minus allowance. What that equates to, they don't present that on the survey. I mean, it's marginal, a tenth of a percent or, you know, 0.2% maybe.
The legal definition for an A2 survey, does that include a margin?
I've never seen one.
Not that I know there is a plus and minus factor
Yeah.
that comes into play, and they put that there as a protection for themselves. I don't see that on here.
But the standard, you don't know if there's
I do not know if there's
standard.
no, I do not know.
Surveys, okay.
Katie?
So my question, I guess, to you, Bill, is that when I'm looking at a picture of the existing house now, it appears to me that the stone veneer is flush with the siding.
One other thing I did forget to mention is because that is close to the property line, there was an additional layer of fireproofing. Fireproofing that created a deeper siding dimension.
Gotcha. So it's not just, so it really isn't the veneer that's causing the
It's
problem.
both.
It's the
It's the
siding.
veneer and the siding so when you have, if this was the edge of your foundation, you would put your stud here, then you have sheathing, fire, siding.
So they should have built inside that so that the total was where it is, but they didn't.
It's not, you wouldn't build it that way. Like, to do it correctly, you wouldn't build it that way. The sheathing wants to go on the outside of the foundation.
Understood. Okay.
Joe, do you have any questions?
No, nothing more. I'll have some comments when we discuss it.
Okay. Okay, is there anyone else to speak? No? Okay, we're going to close this application. Thank you. Okay, we are going on to number 12, 368 South Street, map 232, parcel 202, petition of Rual and Amy Esparza for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4.3 to reduce the second street line on a corner lot for an accessory structure from 30 feet, proposing 22.7. Permission to construct an in-ground pool.
Hi, I'm Don McIntyre, Classic Pools, representing Amy and Raul Esparza.
Hold on one
Esparza,
second, we'll
sorry.
just no problem. Sorry. No, if you'd like to move or go, do whatever you'd like.
Takes everybody out.
No, don't be sorry, I know. I guess they don't want to hear your application. Wow, this is a small crowd. Jeez, what'd you do?
Open the door to tell everybody to go home.
Scared them.
Okay,
Yes, so,
if you could just start again, name, address, I'm sorry.
sure, Don McIntyre, Classic Pools, representing 18 Raul Esparza, to construct a new swimming pool. And as stated, it's on a corner lot, and what they're trying to do is just ask for a variance for 7 linear feet in the front of the property line. And it's a total of 105 square feet.
Okay.
The pool won't be going past the structure. It'll be basically the same line. And there will be a fence line with nice trees.
Go ahead.
Okay. So like I was saying, the pool won't be going past the existing structure. Okay, same line. And then we'll put like a nice fence in and put some nice trees there for some screening as well.
And your hardship is this corner lot?
Correct.
Okay, is there any questions?
Do we have neighbor approvals in the application?
They are right here.
Okay, cool. Oh, right on my face, woo.
I don't see a fence. Is there gonna be?
Oh, yeah, it's not constructed yet.
It's not on the, but it will.
It will be, yeah, in the front.
You need to see a fence.
No.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Is there anyone here? Oh, no,
No,
please.
not just me.
Okay. Is there anyone here that'd like to speak for this application here or online? Is anyone here in opposition of this application here or online? Okay, seeing none, hearing none, we'll close this application.
Thank you so much. Have a great afternoon.
You too.
Sorry to keep everybody out.
Okay. So we have 2 more. They must both be online?
They are.
Okay. So we're going to application number 13, 165 Brookview Avenue, map 31, parcel 179, petition of Mr. Fernandez Gracias for a variance of zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the sideline setback for an open front porch from 20 feet, proposing 19.1, and section 5.2.5, to increase the total lot coverage from 20%, proposing 22.33, permission to expand an existing open front porch premises A zone. The applicant's online?
Yes.
Okay, could you just introduce yourself with your address?
My name is Josone Garcia from 165 Brookview Avenue, Fairfield.
Okay, and just explain your application?
Yeah, I wish to add 14-foot for width on my front porch. This is already existing. I just want to add 7 foot 2 inches, like in each size, on each side of the existing porch along the at 14 foot for 40 inches.
Okay. Is this a conforming lot?
One second. The lot is conforming, the porch is not.
There is no
The
existing.
existing porch.
The porch is not. That misses the setback requirements by half a foot. So it's not conforming.
I don't want to confuse the applicant, but I wonder if he would know what his hardship is. Okay.
Is the porch currently?
19.6.
And they're asking for 19.1.
sorry. No, my apologies. 19.1 is the existing porch.
Okay, they're asking for,
19.1.
wait, so there's no change?
Well, because they already built it.
Well, they made it bigger.
They built it without getting permission. They needed a variance and he didn't. So can you explain what happened, that you didn't know you needed a variance?
Because I didn't make their long against like a favor from the street. I just spanned 7'2", like on either side, along with the existing front porch. I just made wider, not bigger, like.
Do you have a question, Jane?
Did you obtain a building permit to do the work?
Sorry, hold on one second. Tim, I don't know, could you mute because we can hear you?
Anyway, I'm glad you thought it.
I don't know, can we mute?
Tim. I'll just turn them off.
Okay, he's gonna turn them off. Okay, sorry, we'll get right back to you, okay? We just want to hear you, and there's a lot of background noise. Okay, please start again. So she asked, what was your
My
question?
question is, did you obtain a building permit for the work that you've already done?
I did, and then there was a spec for the extension of the 7'2". So, but that, I think what happened is because the house was built in 1923, if I'm not wrong. By that time, now they changed the property line for a little bigger than it was before.
Yeah.
And like I said, there was already the existing porch there. I didn't increase anything further to the front. I just made that wider, like 7'2", and needed the sides.
So my question was, to do that, the bit that you did to the side, either side, did you obtain a building permit to do that work?
No, I just did the after. I'm sorry, I misunderstand you. I'm sorry.
Well, we can talk about that later. Is there any more questions of the applicant or of Mr. Decker, since this is our last time we can ask?
Okay, Mr. Decker, so assuming we give him a retroactive variance, does he then have to get a retroactive building permit?
He's in the process of doing that. I couldn't issue the permit because he expanded a porch that was not conforming.
Okay, so, but he'll go through the normal.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anyone else have questions of this applicant? Okay, thank you very much. Anyone online here to speak for this application or in the room? Anyone online to speak against this application or in the room? No? Okay, we're going to close this application. Thank you very much.
Thanks. One more question before I go. My first time, I'm sorry. What's the process now? Should I wait here, like, I got an email?
Well, in about probably 15 minutes or less, we're going to vote on each of our applications. But you can just call the office tomorrow and they can tell you, or you're more than welcome to stay online and you can hear or go through each one.
Okay.
So that's your choice. We'll be doing it in about 15 minutes, probably take like half an hour.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, thank you.
Thanks, bye.
Okay, item 14, 2150 Fairfield Beach Road has been continued to our July 3rd meeting. Right? Okay. All right, last but not least, number 15, 121 Euclid Avenue, map 31, parcel 105, petition of Jovan and Kate
Stojkovic.
Thank you, Stokovich, for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 5.2.4, to reduce the street line setback on a corner lot from 30 feet, currently 25.2, proposing 25.2. Permission to construct a second floor addition, premises A zone. Could the applicant introduce himself and give us his address?
Hi, my name is Kate Stojkovic, and I live at 121 Euclid Avenue. And should I just tell you what we're doing?
Yes, please.
All right, so we live in a legal non-conforming home on a corner lot, and we're requesting a variance to make 2 updates to our second floor. It was previously dormered out in the past by previous owners, like in the back, but we're going to be adding a front dormer to convert unfinished storage space into a small home office. And then we're going to raise the roof line over our existing bedroom to create a more functional layout. We're going to have a full bathroom and a closet added in there. And we're not changing the footprint of the house. We're just going to be going, over it. And we're just trying to make better use of the existing space. So since it's a smaller, it's a smaller lot than what's allowed in our zone, and it's a corner lot, we're limited by the 2 setbacks. And our second floor has sloped ceilings, and it makes much of it unusable. So we just want to make it, better for our family. So yeah, that is basically it.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Does anyone on the board have questions for this application? Joe?
No.
Okay, I don't. Anyone else? Katie? Nobody? No. Okay, the board does not have any questions. Thank you very much.
Awesome, thank you.
Does anyone online or here wish to speak for this application? No? Does anyone online or here wish to speak against this application? No? Okay, that application is closed. And this is the end of the public hearing. We are now going to go into session and discuss the applications and vote. Would anyone like a minute? Good?
Okay.
Okay. Joe, do you need a minute?
I'm good.
Actually, I might take a minute.
You should take a minute.
Maybe not even.
Okay, we're gonna take a little. Okay, we're going to call back to order the Zoning Board of Appeals meeting for June 5th, 2025. And we are now going to vote on all the applications put forward. So we're going to start with number 5 on our continued docket, which is 1157 and 1158 Fairfield Beach Road. I just want to make sure do you have to read this whole thing again?
No, just
Okay, I don't think so. Okay, so.
It's already on the record.
It's already on the record. So number 5, we're going to vote. So I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, and a second?
Jane seconds.
Okay. Discussion. Okay.
Well, the applicant pointed out that the one line here, variance for section 11.12 is not part of this variance application any longer, correct?
Right, so when we read this, we may want to read this and make sure that we're not granting that variance.
You're not taking that into consideration.
Right, but even though, so if we approve this as read, we would approve that.
Correct.
So we need to, I crossed this out, so I think it's best, I'm going to reread it, just so we have it on the record.
Sure.
So 1157 and 1158 Fairfield Beach Road, map 184, parcel 67, petition of Anthony Ilaro for a variance to the zoning regulations, section 11.1.4.1 to construct a new 2-story structure consisting of a 3-car garage and a finished second floor with plumbing fixtures and heat. And section 11.13.2 to reduce the setback from the center line of Fairfield Beach Road from 25 feet, currently 17.9, proposing 19.6. Then we go to section 1110 to increase the total lot coverage from 20%, currently 21%, proposing 21.5, permission to construct a FEMA-compliant single-family dwelling with decks and FEMA-compliant accessory structure with living space, heat and plumbing above the ground level with a CAM application. The applicant has also asked or said that he'd be willing to accept a deed restriction for the use of the second floor. Okay,
Of the accessory structure.
of the accessory structure. So I just think we should have a motion to approve again, since we did it correctly. Can I have a motion to approve? So moved. Faith, can I have a second?
Jane seconds.
Second from Jane, discussion.
Just a correction, it's currently 21.1%, you kind of left that off.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I crossed out too far. Okay, is there discussion?
Well, when I'm looking at this, number one, so we basically have two variances, right? So reducing the setback from the center line of Fairfield Beach Road, it's supposed to be 25, but it's currently 17.9. And they're proposing 19.6, so they're reducing that nonconformity. Accurate, which is good. And as far as the coverage, so we're talking about 0.14? No, not 1, 0.4 over our coverage. That's existing coverage. Is that accurate?
I think that's accurate.
3 seems pretty small. I mean, we could certainly go back to them and say, well, get rid of that 0.4, but given the effort and expense probably necessary to do that, I don't think it's worth it to make them do that personally. Get them to where they were.
We have to say the condition that was added to this.
When we approve this, we're going to have to say it and add that condition.
The deed,
For the deed.
correct? Is that what you're referring to?
Well, yeah, zoning regulations now already prohibit ADUs in the beach district, so if there is this condition imposed, and then someday in the future, ADUs are then permitted in the beach district, this deed restriction will stay, correct?
Right.
Correct? No?
If the regulations change, then it would be permitted to do so. The deed is intact, this deed will be intact to prevent that from happening.
If it's against
If it were
regulation.
to ever be changed between now and then.
I think, though, a deed follows a land record, so they'd have to get a lawyer to get it changed.
They could, yeah.
I think that's exactly what I said.
Yeah.
The deed overrides whatever changes.
I don't think we're allowed to ask that question,
I'm
so
sorry,
now,
I'm just saying,
right?
this is
We're
our
not allowed to ask
discussion.
you
This is our
questions.
discussion, okay.
It's part of the application of which I interjected
Okay,
to.
okay, so then you
It's-
can.
You're not adding any additional new evidence.
Okay.
Which would come up if that were to be the case, then I would keep shut, but you're correct. If the regulations were to change, it would be permitted. They would have to have it removed from the land records.
So it's a different process.
And I think an application back to this commission would be required to do that.
Right. Joe, do you have anything you'd like to add to our discussion on this application?
No, I just, I was impressed with the thought that went into this application. Should be on record.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, so we're going to vote with Joe, Katie, Faith, Jane, me. So Joe, yes, will you approve or not approve the application?
Yes.
Katie?
Yes.
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 And yes from me, this application is approved. Okay, it's approved with the deed restriction.
Right.
For the record.
What is the deed restriction?
That they are not allowed to rent it out as a residence. They can only use it themselves, is what he told us.
Can't be, it's no
Can't be-
rental period.
No rent.
Yes.
Okay. But, so anyone could live there?
Can't be a residence, period.
Can't be a residence.
But if the rules change and you're then
That's
allowed
not
to
part
have
of this
an ADU.
application, though. That's irrelevant.
Okay.
Yeah. The restriction will be
Okay.
used as a home office, not for use for a residence.
Okay. So we could say something like it can only be used by the homeowner.
Correct.
Okay, so now we're going to go on to the next one, which is 229 Old Post Road, map 139. They are looking for a lot coverage variance and a side they want to put in a garage. They want to remove a garage and put in a garage. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second is Joe. Okay, discussion.
Let's clarify, it's only one, there's no sideline variance, it's just coverage, right?
No, they want to increase, 5.2.5 is a setback, isn't it?
No, it's
That's,
coverage.
oh, there's only one, I'm sorry.
There's only one, okay.
There's only one.
Make sure.
Um,
I think personally, it's 1% over coverage. And if they attached it to the house.
Yeah. It's also an undersized lot.
Yeah.
Okay, any other board members want to interject? Okay, hearing none, seeing none, would you like to go to vote? Joe, you are first.
Yes.
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 And I'm also a yes, that passes. Variance has been given. Okay. We're going to number 2, 115 Tuckahoe Lane. They want to construct an accessory dwelling above a detached garage. Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, Jane, second?
Second.
Second is Katie. Discussion.
We like ADUs. And,
They wouldn't need a variance if they moved it and attached it. Is that the one, that's
Well,
correct?
also wouldn't need it if they were in any other zone.
no, that's not true.
Well,
Yeah.
there's 3 zones, but there's a lot of zones that do allow them, right?
Detached?
Yeah. 3 zones.
Okay.
Which one's lot? Double A, triple A? Or 3? And I like the fact that Jane brought up that they could certainly build a larger ADU if they wanted to, and they're staying.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we're gonna go to a vote. Joe?
Aye.
Aye, that's a yes, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Faith?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, from me. Okay, that's approved. Number 3, 172 Hulls Highway. We want to increase the lot coverage, reduce the street line and sideline setbacks. Okay, motion to approve.
Yes.
Okay,
Motion
Jane,
approved.
second.
Second.
Katie, okay, discussion.
They have a reasonable hardship I'm looking at. It's, the house was constructed prior to the current zoning, so it's in a weird place on the lot.
And the setback, they're not changing any of the setback. I mean, they're not expanding the footprint.
No.
It's staying the same.
Yeah, non-conforming lot.
And they're undersized.
Okay, any other discussion? Okay, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Aye or yes.
Katie?
Aye.
Yes.
Yes.
And a yes from me. Okay, that's granted. Next, we are going to 1080 South Vine Creek Road. They want to reduce the sideline setback. They want to construct a 1-story addition. They're on a corner lot. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, Katie's first, second.
Jane, seconds.
Okay, discussion.
Corner lot is always just a tricky thing.
They're also not changing the setback. They're just going up and above an already non-conforming setback.
Yes.
Yep.
And we're going to see that the neighbors don't approve.
Oh, this is where he forgot to bring it, this Joe. Okay, any more discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Aye.
Yes.
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 And a yes from me. Okay, that application is approved. Okay, we're doing now 207 Main Street. They want to reduce the sideline setback. They want to increase the total floor area. They want to construct a second floor addition. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, Joe, thank you. Okay, discussion.
historic zone, and the application is for a very minor addition that you don't even see from the road.
Yeah. I mean, they're not, it's very well done.
And the sideline variance they're asking for is less than the already non-conforming sideline.
Right.
And they're asking for 1.5% over a fair, which seems to me very reasonable.
Okay, any other discussion?
I'd just like to make note that it is a very well conceived and presented plan.
All right, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Jane is a yes, and I'm also a yes. That's approved.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay, and number 6 was withdrawn, so we're moving on to another 7, 840 Mill Hill Road. They want to add a pool, so they're asking for a section to reduce the rear property line for an accessory structure. Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, Faith, and a second?
Jane seconds.
Jane seconds. Okay, discussion.
So, except for the fact that they're, because they have town property wrapping all around that's not gonna be developed, I'm okay with this, other than, because otherwise I would have wanted it moved, but I'm okay.
And I agree with Jane. I do think they could have put it somewhere else on the property. This is where they want it. I think if there was neighbors, I wouldn't want this, but being that they're right against open space, I don't see this as harming anything.
There's no effect on that person.
Joe, do you have any comments on this?
No.
All right, any other comments? No, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Yes.
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 And I'm a yes. Okay, that's approved. Now we're moving on to 101 High Meadow Road. They want a variance of the street line setback, permission to construct a second floor addition. Motion to approve.
So moved.
Jane, and a second?
Second.
Faith, thank you. Okay, discussion.
They're not expanding the footprint.
Right. It's a non-conforming lot. They're looking just.
It's going, it's another just going.
Yeah, they're just going up with an attic, right? Yeah, I mean, any other discussion? No? Okay, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Did I go too fast?
And I think the numbers don't match. Am I correct? The call says for proposing 43.3, but on the chart, it says 40.3.
That was the 40.3 is existing. They didn't,
And that's an error on the,
the additions recessed back from the 40.3 to 43.3.
Okay, because it doesn't say that, it says proposed is 40.3 on the chart, so.
Well, that's wrong. because
Okay.
Existing is 40, when you look at the indent
Okay.
behind the 40.3, it says 43.3.
Right.
That's where the addition is.
Okay, so we're approving the written description, not the,
we're approving the application saying that they're asking for 43.3.
because the plot plan is incorrect on the chart.
You know, but you could bring it up, Matt.
No, it's written correctly. The chart is incorrect.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's written correctly.
Okay, thank you.
So,
Okay.
yeah, just
So we
because the
are
survey is wrong
approving
doesn't-
it. We're
That's the approval.
I corrected it because it was wrong.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, but we'll make sure for the record that we are approving it as written, a 43.3. Okay, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so Joe, you vote first.
Yes.
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 And I'm also a yes. That application has been approved. Okay, we are now at number 9, 895 Bronson Road. They are looking to reduce the side setback to remove the existing garage and construct a new garage. And they're also going to increase lot coverage. Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
And a second.
Second.
Okay, Katie. Okay, discussion.
There's a very clear hardship. The required frontage to the street is 135. They only have 85, so they have a skinny lot, so kind of makes that hardship pretty evident to me.
Yeah, agreed. Any other discussion? Okay, we're going to vote. Joe?
Yes.
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 And that's a yes. Application's approved. Okay, moving on to number 10. 1170 Fairfield Beach Road.
That was continued.
They want to increase the lot coverage. Oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. Thank you so much. I wrote all over it. Okay, number 11, 879 Riverside Drive. To reduce, so this is an application to reduce a lot of things. And this is an after the fact task. Okay, a motion to approve.
So moved.
Okay, second? Okay, Faith. Okay. I don't know about all of you, but this is a first for me, where someone has built something that wasn't approved, and now they're back asking for permission, which wasn't originally given, correct? Have you all sat on those? Okay, so I have not.
This is a pretty larger number of things than I've seen in the past.
So the remedy that we discussed would be to remove the stone off the foundation and move the garage, the siding.
I don't think that removing the stone though is going to do it, because if you look at the picture of the house, the stone is flush with the siding. So if you remove the stone, that lower portion of the house will be potentially conforming, right? But the upper.
Well, we asked him this already. We asked the applicant during the discussion, and he started talking about the walls coming out too.
Well, the walls would have to be moved because they added insulation or whatever they added that
one wall
into the
It's
foot.
not on the whole sides.
Can Matt answer
I
that?
can answer that if you want me to.
Yes, please.
When you have an outside wall that's less than 5 feet to the property line, it's got to be constructed in a fire-rated method. That fire-rated method increases the width of the boards that they use on the side of the house. Conventional construction would require 1/2-inch plywood. Fire-rated is 3/4 plus, I believe, a sheathing of some sort on the interior for additional fire rating. That pushes the outside wall out, which is why the comments came in indicating that the siding is flush with the stone. That's probably true. I can't remember when I went out and did my inspection, but that's the outside of the wall. So that's on the left side. The right side, my guess is standard 1/2-inch plywood and then siding. And the front, again, they probably wrapped it to the front because part of the front of that corner is less than 5 feet.
So it's a safety issue that's required anyway. So
Correct.
I'm just trying to get, so the remedy would make the house unsafe and it would not be legal.
That's correct.
But why wasn't that in the plans? Like, what happened to the architects and builders, and they should have known all that?
I can't answer that question.
Oh, right? I mean, they should have.
Whether they should have or not, that falls into the jurisdiction of the building department.
Yeah.
I'm just explaining the reason why they're less on their setback and their increase in their coverage.
And then the other question I had, there is no legal margin of error for an A2 survey. So it's.
For setbacks, in some cases, they do have that plus or minus. They don't have that indicated.
Right, so we don't, I mean, if he's measuring to the stone or the property line is
They can
also.
go back and validate what they have,
Right.
but that's on them. They're the
Exactly.
licensed people. So
So I'm saying like the property line, again, is an imaginary line.
Correct.
And if the,
transom.
yeah, the transit or the spike is off like a little bit, it would turn everything around. So it's not unusual to have a slight difference there.
Well, this is not slight, though. I mean, this came back to you. I mean, you couldn't approve this. You
couldn't
could
approve
not
it if it was
issue.
1/10 over.
Because remember, they got through, so for the, because this was It's a lot. Some of the sidelines, they actually, and let's go back to the fact that they received a very large variance from this board. And I will say that in my opinion, a large part of that variance, why it was granted, was because of the approval of the neighbors. And I know whether that was, why that was not brought, why the neighbors approved it with the conditions, but it seems like right now you're kind of regretting doing that. But unfortunately, that variance was approved, I think, in large part because the neighbors were all on board with what, it was there is a very large magnitude variance in my opinion. Again, we try to listen to the neighbors. But that said, the variance for the sum of the two sidelines was granted at 16.9. It's actually 16.6, so you're talking about 0.3. And then the sideline variance was granted was 4.2. They made it 3.9, so again, very small. Street line, we gave them 27.6, and they built 24, so they are off by like 3. Is that right? No.
You gave them 24.1.
24.1. Okay, and they did 24. So those, to me, that first piece of it, there's really nothing you could do to make them, I mean, we could make an example out of them and say, tear the house down, but there's really, in my opinion, there's nothing you can really do to remedy that without major. The garage is another story. The garage, you're talking about a foot difference. It's not inches.
Right, and the applicant has offered to fix the garage.
So because this is all bundled into one variance application, we can either say yes or no, correct? We can't separate out?
That's a hard technical question.
I haven't worked.
You can base your approval on a condition. You'd have to redo the order at that point, or the call. Condition approval that if you go with the house as is, the house as is. If you don't like the garage the way that it is and it needs to comply to what was approved, the condition of approval would be setting it to be what was originally approved back in January of '24.
So we're permitted to offer to make that condition?
I think so. Again, or at that point, we just deny it entirely and they have to come back and then, show the remedy of the garage being moved. And
Because our discussion here, we're.
correct, yeah. I mean, more than likely, I guess, if we did do a condition that wasn't presented by the applicant, they can appeal it more than likely.
Yeah, I think
And we would,
just listening to you, I would feel more comfortable having them come back with a variance that we want to approve. But also, I do think we should take into mind one of the neighbors who said, okay, it's an inch here, it's an inch there, but where does it end?
I know, but what's the remedy? Tear the house down?
Well, no, but
I get it.
I do too, and
agree.
I don't think that we want to be in charge of punishing someone to the tunes of hundreds of thousands of dollars, right?
Joe's got a question.
Oh, that means when his hand's up? Okay, we'll wait for a second. But I think it's difficult. Okay, Joe?
It is.
So I've said it before, although there's an old saw, it's much easier to ask for forgiveness than it is to ask for permission. I don't believe that that's a standard by which our board should operate. And I think they should come back with a good faith. I think we should deny this, and I think they should come back with a good faith effort at trying to make it right. And so far, they haven't done any of that. I understand stuff happens and, they built the garage in the wrong place. Well, that's their problem. It's not our problem. The front, it's a different issue. And maybe if they correct the one, we can correct the, we can forgive the other. But I'm not happy with this application. And isn't this the one with the trees too?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I mean, they haven't met that stipulation of our original approval. So I'm inclined to vote no, and with the strong message, come back and fix as much as you can with it that's reasonable.
Okay, Jane?
I went back and looked at the original variance. It just says trees. It doesn't say how tall they should be.
I'm gonna go back in the video to verify that, but we've got 3 people who have said that it's 10.
I recall that. I do recall that.
But I just saw that, but,
I thought that's big, but okay.
a lot of times when you have, or any building, when you put the formal in for foundation, you bring the surveyor back then to make sure that the forms.
This was existing foundation.
But that's not what they applied for.
They applied, if I'm not mistaken.
About the main house or the garage?
Oh, you're talking about the garage?
Garage.
Sorry, yes, sorry. I thought you were referring to the
So
main house, yeah.
the old garage is gone. Putting in new formwork. It's tight.
They just built it over the existing
Right,
foundation.
so, but often you bring in, I mean, the error was not bringing your surveyor in to check. Okay, so, you know.
And I do want to correct something Joe said, because they did already offer to take down the garage and rebuild it. They didn't come in without understanding that they need to fix this. You know, I don't know if they know what the solution is yet, but they know it needs to be fixed.
So I'm back to the question of can we approve, and you thought we could approve part of the variance, not the other.
I can tell you this, the decision needs to be made within 35 days. You can always table this, and we can get legal counsel or
Whether we can approve part of it.
but nonetheless, it sounds like
Based on our public discussion here, it's pretty clear what we would like to see.
But if you get denied an application for a variance, can you just come back next month for the same variance?
you're making the request of something, that would
Continue to
that
request?
would be a substantial change to what they had asked for. So in my opinion, yes, they could.
Okay, so our choice
Going back
is,
to the same thing again? No.
okay, so our choice is to continue it or deny it? That's our choice, right? I've never continued something. I mean, I think the
You have the
cleaner thing
ability
to
to do that based on state.
deny the application and have them come back next time with a real plan that we can work on. Does anyone not agree with that?
Yeah, I mean, in any, either, and here's another piece of it, because I was going to go back and listen to the tapes of the 10-foot trees. I remember that, but maybe I'm.
I'm not disputing that.
But regardless, but we could still, if, let's say we did approve part of this, we could say, okay, but now you've got a condition of, on the record, it's gotta be 10-foot trees.
Right.
So.
And it states on there, you're right, but it doesn't state the height.
But if the application comes back with, we want this, we're gonna rebuild the garage, and we're gonna put up the 10-foot trees, we get all at once with a
Yeah.
brand-new application, right? Right?
Yeah. Let's remember, let's try those,
Correct.
because that was,
The other part was the initial or the original variance was to put a cedar fence. on
they
one
got that.
side.
You got your,
said,
you did that.
Mark got that.
Yeah, we did that.
Fine, no cedar, but.
Okay, so unless there's any more discussion, I think we'll vote. So, Joe, do you, how do you vote on this application?
No.
Hey, Katie?
No.
Jean?
I voted no the first time around, I'm gonna vote no again.
Okay, and I vote no also. So this variance is not approved. Okay. Okay, we are moving on to number 12, 368 South Street, parcel 202. Am I on the right one? Yeah. Okay, I thought you were going to tell me something wrong. All right, to reduce the Second Street line on a corner lot for an accessory structure, they want to put in an in-ground pool. Motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Okay, second?
Second.
Okay, in seconds. Discussion. Yeah, no problem if you want to go, please.
I was not clear what the hardship was. Can we talk about that again?
Corner lot.
Corner lot.
Corner lot? Okay.
It's a tricky, there's no place to put a pool. It's, there's no place other than right there.
Okay. As long as there's a fence or whatever.
Building department requires. Or an electric cover.
Yeah, all those things.
They've changed that law?
The state did, yes.
I thought they put it back though. I thought because they did that in West. I thought they changed it. At least, well, it doesn't matter.
Okay, so, any other discussion?
Isn't this the one that said they were building a fence and it would be at the, basically a continuation of the front of the house?
No, I don't think
These people were.
Let me just
building-
tell you something. These people do not want the pool be on the street. Like, they're not going to build a pool and not put a fence up or trees or
He said he
something.
was putting a fence.
It's like, it's literally, you'd be on the street looking at them by their pool, going, hey.
Well, it's a safety issue, not a
No,
privacy.
that's not for us, and that's the building department. So,
Well, can't we stipulate that they build a fence?
we don't need to.
No, that's a building code in the town.
It's not our purview.
Well, it could be a stipulation of our approval.
But we don't need to make that. We don't need to make that.
It's
I don't
already,
think-
it's already a stipulation.
You can only do that at the public comment section.
So you can only put stipulations during the
You
public.
you can add any kind of condition or ask for a condition, but it's got to be during the public hearing portion.
They can say yes or
We
no.
can't do it as under the
But it's building,
private
it's
session.
building code anyway, they have to have a fence.
That's a building code, not a zoning code.
Right.
So it'll happen anyway.
Okay, so we're gonna vote on this application. Joe?
Aye.
Katie?
Yes.
Faith?
Yes.
Jane?
Yes.
And I'm also a yes. Application is approved. Okay, we're on number 13. This is Brookview Avenue, and this is another after-the-fact approval. He expanded an existing open front porch. Can I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Okay, a second?
Second.
Okay, thank you. Okay, discussion.
As I said on the last one that was a forgive us, I'm really uncomfortable with people coming to ask us to forgive things that they didn't ask approval for.
Yeah, I've said that for years, but I thought that we should have fines. But that would be a town thing.
I have a question among us. If this application had come in front of us before he did it, would we have approved it?
I would have said yes.
I would have said yes also.
I would have said
He was
yes.
making it wider, he wasn't encroaching on the street any
Right,
further, so.
right. And the difference, I think, on the other application, Katie, like you said, you already gave so many variances. We already went so over the top. With this person, they did something, yes, in hindsight, they should have come to us.
Should have asked.
But I think we have to interpret what people believe, and I don't think he knew.
Yeah, but my problem with this one is he didn't even get a building permit.
But now he's gonna, if we say, if
Yeah, I
we don't
know.
approve this, he's gonna have to tear
I
it
didn't,
down.
I didn't say not to approve it, but that I think kind of
He just kind of
makes
just did it.
one thing worse.
Yeah, no, I
So-
don't disagree with you.
This is on the front of the house, so somebody, Matt, sorry,
It's okay.
did somebody just phone this in? I mean, how do we even know about this?
He had other work that was, I believe, inspected, and porch was not part of the inspection.
So that was a little,
It was brought up to my attention because of that.
Okay, any other discussion? But I just, is it true that if we say no to this, it would have to be removed?
Correct.
Okay, we're gonna vote. Joe, you vote first.
I'd like to pass.
You mean you don't want to vote right now, or you don't want to vote at all?
That's right, I don't want to vote right now.
So
That's a
you
no vote.
want to change your order?
Yes.
Yes.
That's
We're
fine.
allowed to do
Yep, yep. Okay, so Katie, you can go first.
I don't want to go, no. Yeah. Faith, go. Yes, yes.
Okay,
Yes.
okay.
yes.
And I'm also a yes. Joe?
I'm going to vote no on principle. He gets his he gets his approval and I'm on the record.
Okay. So that variance has been approved. Okay, we're gonna go on to number 15, our last one. Ready? 121 Euclid Avenue. This is, they are wanting to do a second floor addition. They are a corner lot, and they're looking for that variance and a street line setback on a corner lot. Okay, motion to approve.
So moved.
So
Okay,
moved.
second, Joe. Okay. Discussion.
They're just going straight up
Yep,
on a little tiny
yep,
non-conforming lot.
right. Okay. Any other discussion going straight up on a little tiny non-conforming lot? No? Okay, we're gonna vote. Joe?
Aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
And yes for me, that application has been approved. Okay, we are now gonna close the public hearing. And we are gonna move on to our last agenda item, which is, so this item on our agenda, we can discuss internally and the public is more than willing to watch, but they cannot speak. So it's here, other business. So this is a new area we've added to our agenda. For general discussion of application materials, enforcement challenges, application review procedures, hearing guidelines, hardship criteria, decision practice guidelines, staff questions, project fit relative to neighborhood properties, supervision, and inspection of construction projects. So, if there's anyone have an item, so what will happen is if you have an item you'd like to put in here, you need a motion to approve, we need to second that motion to approve, and then we will discuss it. Okay, I see Joe has his hand up. Is there an item you'd like to discuss?
I'd just like to apologize for being late to the meeting. I've been in South Dakota, and apparently yesterday I crossed over from Central to Mountain Time, and I did not take note of the change in time, and I thought I had an hour more to sign on to today's meeting. So I apologize for that. That doesn't, I don't think, needs to be approved. But I just wanted to explain what happened today and why it wasn't what I intended to do.
Do we typically get notification when one of the members is going to be zooming in versus having a alternate?
There's nothing that requires us to do that, as far as I know. Doesn't mean that we can't have a sense of the board, but we don't have any policies. We could have policies, but we don't.
Okay, anyways, so is there anything in this item that anyone would like to bring up for discussion?
Under,
Go ahead. Yeah, under all these things. Okay, Joe, you have your hand up?
Yeah. So I would like us to consider tying up the loose ends of our existence. In other words, do we need to know? Should we know? Would it be good to know if someone is not going to be at the meeting in person? What is the procedure? Because I'll tell you, I can't figure out what the procedure is for appointing an alternate. I thought I had done that last month, and I was shocked to find out that the person who agreed to be my alternate last month wasn't there. So obviously, that could be tightened up. Do we need to write some policies and procedures down to help all of us understand what and how we do our business?
Joe, does Robert's Rules of Orders have something to say about that?
No, not really.
Okay, first of all, do we have a motion to approve the discussion on policy and procedures on attendance
Motion to
at
approve.
meetings? Okay, second. Okay, can you second that, please?
Second.
Okay, now, I just want to interject here that this came up, I spoke to the town attorney. There are state statutes on this that Joe shared with me. But as chair, you can also work around this, like the email I sent you, Joe, and that you have to rotate alternates. It's state law. So if we ask Faith to come and she can't, we have to go to the next person. They have to go in order. And I, as the chair, per the town attorney, can work through staff to make sure we accomplish that correctly and follow state statute. Is that clear, Joe?
Well, state statute says that each member can approve their own alternate, can select their own alternate. And if they don't do that, or they're otherwise disqualified from a meeting because of a conflict or something like that, then the chair makes the appointment in order out of the list. That's what the statute says. I've written to the town attorney 3 times to try to clarify this, and all I get back is I discussed it with your chair, talk to your chair.
Yeah, and so I'm following the town attorneys, and I'm not a lawyer. I don't quote statute. He's telling me the way we're doing it now is absolutely fine. So that's the way we're gonna do it. I sent an email out. I think it was really clear on how we do this. So I don't see any other discussion here.
Well, I do, because the statute says that members choose their own alternates.
I am not going to argue law with you. If you don't agree with me, you can go to the town attorney yourself. But I went to the town attorney, and as an elected official for the town, I am following what the town attorney told me we should do.
Do you have that in writing so I can reference it? Because all I know is what you told me, and if I had a question to go to the town attorney, and the town attorney says, I talked to your chairman, talk to your chairman. So we're going around in a circle, and I apologize for that. I'd just like to safely have, yes.
Joe, Matt Decker, zoning officer for the record. The reason that the office has worked with a schedule when a sitting member is unable to attend a meeting, they've reached out to me, at least for the last 16 years that I've been doing this, to advise me that they're not going to be available. I then turn to the alternate page and previous alternates who've sat and go down the list as to who's next. I have a section for every month as to which an alternate is to sit. If the alternate can't sit, I go on to the next alternate. The only reason why I ask that, regardless of you making the effort to have Harold sit, Harold wasn't here on time, and I was not sure he was coming because nobody notified me. So I had to go on a path to get someone to sit. And the only 2 that I was able to get in touch with were, actually not the only 2, because I knew Faith wasn't going to be available already. I reached out to both Elise and Harold. Harold he didn't get back to me until after Elise got back to me, and it was already 10 minutes past the hour. She said she would sit. She was able to put herself online within 5 minutes. Harold didn't get back to me for 30 minutes. I had no idea that you had made the effort to reach out and have an alternate sit in your place. Had I known that, I would have addressed my emails out to the commission as to who was sitting. So when I send out emails and I don't have an alternate that's sitting, I address all the emails to the 5 sitting members. That didn't include Harold, because I didn't know he was sitting in your place. It's just, regardless of procedure, regardless of what you think in regard to procedure and what is the state statutes indicate, I'm not going against the state statutes. All I'm doing is making sure that the board is fully fit. Because, as you know, a supermajority is required for all applications to be approved, and that would be 4 out of 5. And when I only have 4 members sitting here, I'll wind up having to push all of the applicants out another month. And that would have meant that this month we would have had 29 applications.
I only learned that Harold didn't show up when I got a copy of last month's minutes on Tuesday.
I understand that. He would have been here, but he didn't reach back out to me in a timely manner. And I didn't realize that you had reached out to him. Otherwise, I would have communicated with him days before the meeting.
Yeah, and I apologize.
But Joe, I mean, what I want to understand is, what's wrong with doing it the way I outlined it? Just go through Matt. he'll get them. What's wrong with that?
Well, the statute says the members shall choose their alternate.
May. It says may.
No.
Okay, but
No.
either way, that's the way we're gonna do it. I just know, I talked to the town attorney, and he said what we're doing is fine. I don't wanna keep arguing about this. It's such a waste of time.
It's not a waste of time if it's wrong. And all I want is an answer from the town attorney. If you could ask him to answer my question, I'll be happy with what he says. But all he keeps telling me is, I discussed it with your chair, and you redirected me to him. So.
No, I said, this is what's happening. If you don't agree with me, you're welcome to reach out to the town attorney. That's what I said.
Okay.
I did not know that he would tell you, I already explained it to Chris. I don't know that. So
Okay, well,
anyways,
I mean, the problem from an alternate's point of view is I'd be receiving calls from various people that I don't know who their phone number is, and I might not pick up the phone.
Right.
But when Matt calls me or emails me, he can contact me. I mean, it just doesn't make sense the other way.
And I think also it might be part my issue, but every time a board changes, I reach out to the alternates and explain to them how and when they would sit. So, and I would say just expect an email from myself or a phone call if you're needed. Sometimes it could be a week in advance, other times it could be an hour in advance. And that's why this hybrid system is very useful in cases like that. That's all. It's not that it's right or wrong, Joe. It's just, it's not broken. So, we didn't think to, change it.
I've had an alternate come in my place several times in the last 18 months. And the process that I used was to contact the alternate, and I've advised that the alternate's coming in my place. The fact that it didn't happen last month, I'm not sure why, but I apologize. But I know what
my number.
But I know what I've done. I know what I've done 2 or 3 other times in the previous 18 months, and nobody
I understand
ever
that,
said-
Joe. Joe, we all
nobody ever
understand
said-
that, but I don't understand what's wrong with how we're doing it now.
Okay, well.
It just, it allows the organization to just flow correctly and smoothly. It's not taking the right away from you. It's just allowing me to make sure that our staff is fully functioned and ready to go. That's all.
And the town attorney said the way we're doing it now is not violating state statute.
Well, when he tells me that, I'll let you, I'll be happy with that. So,
No.
if you can, please
Okay,
tell him.
so let's move on. I think we all agree that this conversation is not getting any more productive. Is there any other items people want to add or discuss based on our last item on our agenda?
I have one thing.
Yes.
Brand new. So, Matt, every other department has online application. When is zoning variance application going to be all online?
They're available online, but I work by appointment with every application that comes forth. And it's not that I don't have an issue with people downloading it online, but they need to speak to me first. In some cases, they don't, and they'll just take the application, download it, and then submit it.
Right, but I mean, why, like in other towns, you fill out the application online and then it goes in. They don't have a paper copy ever. That's what I'm asking.
As of right now, I'm taking paper copies for the purpose of, and then after, everything's uploaded and it's on the computer for display during our meetings.
2025, you know.
But we don't have a credit card machine either, so.
No, according to, Joe had asked this question, and I did talk to the town attorney about this also. We as a board cannot regulate or tell the town to do something about an infrastructure.
Yeah, I'm just asking.
You know,
Yeah,
I know.
It's a great question.
But it's really good because.
I'll tell you, I'm a little bit old school, and it allows me to organize a little bit better when I have schedule. And I still write it all down on a piece of paper.
Right, that's fine, analog.
But we do have it available online for people to look at it and to understand and read it. And there's a checklist that Jody put together that's required. There's the petitions online. And then there's the definition of a hardship that people can read through as well.
Okay, that is, I mean, I looked today.
They're
it's still-
terrible.
It's still like a Xerox of a Xerox. of a
Okay, but I'll
Xerox of a
update you
Xerox.
on that.
You don't like
Because
that?
what happened was Joe had asked if he could work directly with Matt and come up with cleaner papers. Have Joe, have you reached out to Matt?
Well, we were supposed to do that in April, and if you remember, I had an accident and was out of commission for a while, and I haven't had the ability to do that, but I will. It's on my agenda. It just got postponed because of that injury.
I'm available whenever you need, Joe.
Okay.
I look forward to it.
At one time, did you have a definition of variance like right front and center of the page? Remember seeing that?
You know, there may have been, Jane, but I'm not certain. And I agree. I mean, should we put something that's a little bit more legible? Sure. And the definition a little bit more definitive. And I can work on that.
Okay. 'Cause it's just, I feel bad when people come up and talk about their mother-in-law and.
It doesn't matter. They're always going to do that,
Yeah.
regardless of what the bullet points may say.
Whether like
you know.
you like your in-laws.
But if it's,
Yeah.
but if they have to write it out on the application,
Oh, they always do.
and then you'll see it,
Yep.
and you'll say, rewrite it.
Right. And I explain to people, when they come in with their application, if I read through it and it doesn't have one bit of a hardship that's a definitive legal definition of the hardship, I'll, send them away with a little note saying this is what we need to do and put on there.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else? Okay, don't hear anything. We're gonna close this.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry. I know. So the POCD, I haven't read through the whole thing. Is that anything that they're writing now gonna substantially affect anything that we're doing here and now?
With this board?
Yeah.
No, not that I'm aware of. The
When are they going to
regulations
be-
will be modified to a degree that will affect how and what I put through to the board.
Right.
But
And when will those come out?
they're going to sit again, I believe, at the end of August. They want to have, their goal is to have everything completed before the election.
Okay, all right, so we'll see those in
Okay, that's-
October, November? Okay.
Yeah.